subject. So I hope you have done a practice for what I introduced in the previous two lectures. Now, before the MATLAB session, we were at the risky security and we introduced the stocks, right? And which can generate a positive or negative return. It generates two types of returns, the dividend and the capital gain. OK, so that we have seen. Also, we have seen the terminologies related to the stocks like going long or going short, right? So in stocks, there are possibility you have a long position or a short position. In our analysis, the short position creates a too much complication. So as far as possible, we avoid this short position in the analysis, but practically it is possible. So we just extend our analysis if there is any short position in the stock. So you just recall these concepts, right? What is the long position, short position? Okay, how the stocks are differ from the bonds, right? And what are the risks associated with the stocks? So now let we go to the detail modeling of this, you can say assets which are there in the portfolio. So portfolio, when we say, is a collection of assets, right? And it involves number of alternatives, say bond, stocks, and other financial instruments like or any security, right? Say it may be the real estate or something else, gold, right? So that all constitutes the portfolio. We mainly here bother on the bonds and the stocks. Okay, the portfolio management itself is a very huge subject, and it involves the security analysis, means which security should be there in the portfolio. The portfolio analysis, when there are multiple securities in the portfolio, how to analyze the portfolio, that we what learn in this chapter. And portfolio selection, which portfolio should be selected. Actually the portfolio should be efficient, right? So that also we will see what we call the efficient portfolio, right? And that analysis involves the two parameters now, return and the risk. Okay, now return from a risky security, when we say, let me designate it by R, we have earlier seen the return from the risk-free security like bond, and we have calculated the interest rate or internal rate of return or effective rate of return, right? Using compound interest rate as well as simple interest rate. But the return from risky security cannot be calculated using any deterministic formula like we are using it for bond. So it's treated as a random variable. So now we need to take the help of the probability and statistics. So I hope you started learning this subject and you have some concept of that probability and statistics. If you have not opted this subject, I hope you have learned somewhere in your mathematics, either at a high school level or in the engineering mathematics at first or second year level, right? So we need to recall some concepts of probability and statistics, and particularly related to the random variables. So now the return is treated as a random variable, okay, and it is computed as expected return under different probabilistic condition of economy. So now this return from risky security is calculated under different probability condition of the economy. So if economy is moving with this probability, return may be this. If economy is moving with this probability, then return may be this. So we have now so many, you can say, probability, or you can say so many possibilities here, depends on the probability conditions of the economy. Okay, so let me define this expected return. Now we not write it as a return, but we write it as an expected return, which is average or mean, which is average or mean. And let we have so many security in our portfolio, right? I say RI is the return associated with my security I. So let I concentrate on security I, and I have such n number of security in my portfolio, whether it is a risky security or risk free, right? But if it is a risky security, we need to model it with the random variable, but risk free, this RI may be deterministic. Okay, right now let we assume all are risky security. So if RI is the random variable representing the return of security I, then its expected return is given by this formula. It is called expectation of RI, expectation operator, E of RI, or you can say mean or average value, and that is equal to sigma S running from 1 to capital S. So I take one index S equal to 1 to capital S, PS into RIS, where PS is what? It is a probability associated with different state of economy, and that, let I say, the S is running from 1 to capital S. So there are capital S number of states of economy possible. So let I say one possibility is recession, One possibility is normal economy. Say another possibility is booming economy. So there are so many possibilities or so many states of economies are there. So its probability is to be predicted. Now this PS is predicted by some economist, right? You know, there is a organization called CMIE. Anyone tell me the full form of CMIE? This all are very common thing that you should know if you study this subject. Because without knowing the practical things, if you just study mathematics, then it's irrelevant. Have you heard about this CMIE? And this is the difficulty with today's students. They are studying subject but don't know its relevance with the current world. And this subject is an interface with the current world. What is CMIE? Anyone can tell me?
Sir, I don't know the full form, but
full form. You just tell me full form.
I don't know that actually.
Yeah, it is center. It is Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, CMIE. It predicts so many data. It generates, it takes the past data, and from that it predicts so many things. Other organization, Indian Statistical Institutes, the unemployment rate, and there are the inflation rate and other things, right? The data are collected by that institute. They analyze. They have a very huge data analytics in their laboratories or in their organization, and based on that they predict, right? So they use all these things in their modeling. They use all these things in their modeling. So they predict the different state of economy with some probability. The Indian economy is right now in a booming phase, right? And that was predicted 5 years earlier. Because we want to go some trillion economy, and that was the target, right, of the government. And it was actually not the target of government. It based on the data provided by such institutes, right? Government can give any target, but it should be practical based on the data provided and feasible data provided by such institutes. So such institutes give the predictions, right? And it was based on the past data and possible outcomes of the present policies of the government, or it also depends on some international events, right? So this PS is the probability associated with the state of economy predicted by such organization, and it is very hard to predict, right? Always it is not correct, right? It is very hard to predict. Okay, and usually if we use this in model, then it may give the wrong result if this prediction will come to wrong. So we have to make some changes in this definition. Anyway, right now we move with this definition. It is sigma s equal to 1 to capital S PS into RIS, and where RIS is the return of security I with, you can say, state of economy S. So return of this stock will also change depends on the state of economy. That's why it is a risky security. If it is a booming phase or companies are performing well, some sectors, IT sector, let's say they are in boom phase, right? But metal sector right now in a booming phase, but 2 years back, the metal sectors was in a very, you can say, bearish phase, right? Too much, you can say, a problem in the metal sector because of China and other issues, right? But right now it is in a booming phase. So that's will be there. So let me go with the definition. It is expected value of return of security I, E of Ri is equal to sigma S equal to 1 to capital S into PS into RIS, where PS is the probability associated with this state of the economy, and RIS is the return of security I in the economy state S, right? So, and remember, this expectation is a linear operator. So whatever linear operation we can do, the expectation is a linear operator. So we use later on some operation on this expectation. So it is a linear operator. Now let me define the risk. We have defined the return. Let me define the risk. Then I will summarize. So risk is a synonymous with the deviation of outcome from the expected value. So if I have this expected value, but in practice, it will not follow this, right? There are some deviation from this expected value. So it is variance or standard deviation about the expected value of random variable is modeled as a measure of risk. So deviation from the mean value is measured by variance or standard deviation. You recall these terms in the statistics, right? and that is used to model the risk, measure of the risk. You are studying these terms in the probability statistics, and this is the practical application. Okay, so risk of security I with expected return ERI. Let we say I have security I in my portfolio and its expected return E of RI, which is calculated using this formula, right? Which is calculated using this formula where PS, RIS, all values are actually predicted or maybe calculated, or you can say a guessed value, right? So we have calculated this E of RI, but actual return may deviate from it. So there is a risk associated with it, and it is defined by the variance or standard deviation. So variance is always denoted by sigma square. The symbol for variance is a sigma square, and its square root means sigma is a standard deviation. So remember, sigma is a symbol for standard deviation, and sigma square of the standard deviation is the variance. So sigma I square is what? It is expected value of Ri minus ERI. So you can see it is a deviation from the mean value, because ERI is a mean value, expected value. So how much your return deviates from this, and we square and calculate again an expected value. Okay, expectation means mean value. Okay, so if I calculate mean of all these variations, right, squared variation, so answer will always be positive. That gives me the variance. Now to calculate this, we again use this probability of the state of the economy. So it is sigma S equal to 1 to capital S PS into RIS minus ERI whole square. Okay, so if we know this PS, we can calculate this sigma I square, or also we can calculate the E of Ri, but E of Ri is also needed in calculation of sigma I square. So first of all, we need to have the expected value of security Ri to be calculated under different state of economy, and then we can calculate the risk associated with this security, right? And remember, this variance, it involves the square term, right? It involves the square term, or standard deviation, which is the square root of the variance, is a non-linear operator. So it not follows the linearity property. So you can recall the linearity property that we studied in our FSPC, right? So expectation follows the linearity property. The standard deviation not follows the linearity property, is a non-linear operator. Then in my portfolio, it is not possible that I have only security I, but I have so many security. Now, these securities, which securities I should keep in portfolio, that is also very important, and that is the portfolio management. So if I have two securities, say Ri and Rj, they generate return Ri and Rj. So I have two securities I and J, let they generate returns Ri and Rj. Then there is a covariance. There is a term which is called covariance. So it is written like this: covariance of Ri, Rj, and it is denoted by sigma ij. So it gives us the statistical measure of association between two random variables, or between the return of the two security here. Okay, so in my portfolio, I should keep which kind of securities? The securities which has a high covariance, or securities which has a low covariance? Just give me the answer. Then we go to this slide. We will study this, but your perception. In portfolio, which security should be there? Which has a high covariance or low covariance? Let us hide this slide.
For diverse portfolio, the covariance should be low.
Covariance should be low, and that is the called principle of diversification. Your portfolio should be diverse, right? Then only it will able to take the advantage of each and every condition, or each and every different type of security that exists in the market. If you take the securities with a high correlation or covariance, then this two gives me almost similar return. So if one generate the higher return, other will generate higher return. If one generate lower return, other will also generate the lower return. So this kind of things are modeled by the term covariance. And remember, these are very important term. Later on, we use it for the practical data, but it is very important to learn this statistics and mathematics. So we write this covariance Ri of Ri and Rj equal to sigma ij, and it is defined like this: expected value of Ri minus ERI into Rj minus ERJ. You can see it is very similar to this sigma I square, but instead of Ri only, we have two securities, Ri and Rj. So instead of Ri minus Eri whole square, we have Ri minus Eri multiplied by Rj minus Erj. So actually, if I use I equal to j, then it is become sigma I, and that is sigma I square, because it is a relation of, or you can say a variation of this security Ri with respect to Ri, then it becomes the variance of the security. Here it is a covariance because it relates the two securities. How? The one security has covariance relation with the other security. Okay, so that is the definition, and we can write it like this: sigma s equal to 1 to capital S into PS RIS minus ERI multiplied by RJS minus ERJ. So we need to know the expected value of security I and expected value of security J and state of economy. Okay, probability of state of economy. And if I equal to J, the sigma Ij turns to be sigma I square. And remember, this sigma Ij is a symmetric term. Means if I find sigma Ij, it is equal to sigma Ji. So if security I is related to J, then by same relation, security J is related to security I. Okay. Now this covariance defines one very important term which is called correlation of return. So remember all this term that will also you will study in probability and statistics. But there you study from mathematics or statistics point of view. Here it is in practical point of view. So we just take an introduction to it. Details you will study in that subject. Or if you have not studied, don't worry, you can just go through this definition. So correlation of return. What is correlation of return? So it is defined by one coefficient called correlation coefficient between returns of the securities I and J, and it is written like this: rho Ij is equal to sigma Ij divided by sigma I sigma J. So we normalize this sigma Ij by these two values, the standard deviation of security I and standard deviation of return of security J. And this rho Ij will always come between -1 and +1. So remember, correlation coefficient can take any value only between -1 and +1, including -1 and +1. Now, if I have rho Ij equal to 0, means zero correlation, means securities I and J are uncorrelated. There is so no tendency to follow each other. Like I have one stock of IT and another stock of FMCG sector. They are highly uncorrelated, right? IT sector booming, FMCG sector stagnant. So the IT sector right now generating very high return, but that will not reflect anything on the FMCG sector. These two are highly uncorrelated. So we need to find this correlation between the security. That is very important for portfolio analyst. Okay, if I get rho Ij equal to 1, that means the two securities are perfectly positively correlated. There is no meaning of keeping these two securities in portfolio, because whatever one generate, the similar thing will other will generate. So they will move in the same direction at the same time. Okay, that is the meaning of correlation coefficient equal to 1. If I get correlation coefficient -1, that means the two securities are inversely correlated, means negatively correlated, means if one will move in upward direction by the same percentage, the other will move in a downward direction. So that is also not desirable. Ultimately, you will not get anything then. So that is also not desirable. So if you have a portfolio, then diversification means you need to minimize the covariance. You need to minimize the correlation coefficient, right? You have to combine the security with less than perfectly positively correlated returns. Okay. So in order for portfolio analyst to construct a diversified portfolio, the analyst must know the correlation coefficient between all security under consideration. So if you have a job of portfolio analyst or portfolio manager, then you need to analyze your security with this term. Every security I should related to every other security J, and you have to find the covariance. Later on we come to a covariance matrix, right? That is very important. So I hope you get these terms. Let me summarize, and then I give you this example as an homework, as an assignment, because I will now give you assignment so that you look at the theory and then try to solve the examples. Okay, so let me summarize this in Notepad first, and then we discuss this example, and then we move to the portfolio management. So I hope these terms are clear. Any doubts so far, you can ask me. So let I use the pen, and what we have seen. the expected return of security I in some portfolio, and that is given by E of Ri is equal to sigma small s equal to 1 to capital S PS of RIS, where what this is, this S defines the state of economy, right? This PS is the probability of economy in different states. Right? And RIS is a return of security I in state S. If economy is in state S, right? So that is the definition of expected return. Then the risk of security I, and that is modeled by variance, right? It is variance of the return associated with the security I, and that is denoted by sigma I square is equal to what? It is expected value of Ri minus ERI whole square, and that is given by this formula sigma 1 equal to capital S PS into Ri minus E of Ri square. Okay, that is the risk. Then covariance. So covariance of returns of securities I and J. We define it like this: covariance Ri comma Rj, and that is written as sigma Ij. You just concentrate on all these terms later on. It is very important. It is sigma S equal to 1 to capital S PS Ri minus expected value of Ri into Rj minus expected value of Rj. So that's the formula for the covariance, right? And in general also we can write it as expected value. Let we complete Ri minus RIS into Rj, right? So this is the definition of covariance, and here it should be RIS and RJS because it should vary with respect to state of economy. So please correct if I do anything wrong. Okay. Sorry, I have written here also something wrong. So let me correct. Just wait, there is a correction. It is RIS minus E of Ri and RJS minus E of Rj, expected value of return of security J. Okay, so this is the correction. If I is equal to J, what I get? Sigma Ij turns to be sigma II, and which is nothing but variance. So covariance becomes variance if the relation is with the same security. Then we have a correlation coefficient. We have correlation coefficient denoted by rho ij, and that is what sigma ij divided by sigma I sigma j, and this value is ranging from -1 less than or equal to rho ij less than or equal to 1. Okay, and we say that this probability of the state of economy, this PS, right, it is to be predicted but difficult. Right, so that is the just a bottom line of this discussion. Now let me go to this example. So here we have given one table, and let we have this data available. We have three states of economy possible. Let we get this data: boom, normal, and recession with this probability 1/4, 1/2, and 1/4. Okay, and with this, the return on security A in percentage is specified. In booming condition, the security A gives 20% return, normal 12%, recession 6%. In return of security B, in the all the three condition varies like this: 8, 8, and 14. The security has no change if it is boom or normal, but it gives high return in recession. So that is return on the security B. There may be securities like this. This security is a very normal thing which gives high return in boom, normal return in normal, and low return in the recession condition. So we have to find with this data what is expected return, risk covariance, and correlation coefficient. So you use this formula. I leave it to you. PS is available. S will vary from 1 to 3. Okay. So you have PS available and RIS. So you first calculate for security A, right? So expected value of RA is sigma S equal to 1 to 3 PS multiplied by R of A into S, right? R of AS. So that is given 20. So it is 1/4 multiplied by 20 plus 1/2 multiplied by 12 plus 1/4 multiplied by 6. And in percentage you get this. Similarly, you calculate for security B, you get this. So you can see the expected value of RA is high while the expected value of the RB is low. So security A in any condition is desirable, right? Because its expected value is high while the security B's expected value is low compared to security A. If I find the risk associated with security A, then you have now ERA available. So use this formula. This sigma I square is equal to sigma S equal to 1 to 3 PS into RIS minus E of RI whole square. Now E of RI means E of RA and E of RB for security A and B respectively. So that is known. And RIS means RAS and RBS. So they are known for all three conditions. So you can substitute and you can find the sigma A square, sigma B square. Then you can find sigma AB using this formula. PS is known, then RAS minus E of RA multiplied by RB of S minus E of RB. So that E of RA, E of RB known, then this RA and RB given under three condition for S equal to 1 to 3. So you can substitute the value and calculate this summation and you will find there is a negative covariance. And from this you can find correlation coefficient rho AB equal to sigma AB divided by sigma A into sigma B, and that will come to be minus 0.754. You can see the return on security A is higher, but risk associated with the security A is also higher. Return associated with security B is lower, then risk associated with the security B is also lower. So high risk, high return. And you can see the negative correlation. Why there is a negative correlation? You can easily justify, because you can see security B is moving higher when security A is moving lower. And when security A is moving higher, security B is moving lower. Return. Okay, I am talking about the return of that securities. Okay, so that way we have, if we have these numbers, right, we can easily judge the correlation. We can easily judge the covariance. Okay. So I hope this example you can solve. Still, if you have any doubt, you can ask me, but I leave it to you, then you will able to solve it. Then I will move to the estimation of this all the parameters from historical data, because we don't know the state of economy. It is a future dependent thing. The future is unknown, but the history is known. Any doubts so far? All right, so as I mentioned, this probability of future state of economy are difficult to predict, and if we use this in calculation, then our calculation will be there, but it may not give the perfect thing, right? It will not give perfect model. So what is the practical approach? So use the historical data, because in history also all these returns have passed through most states of economy. In history also the economy has passed through the booming phase, the you can say normal phase. So it has passed to all the states or recession phase, whatever. So it is convenient to assume that each observation, that we take the historical data and we assume that each observation is equally likely with probability of 1 by t. So now we take a long data from history. We take a long data set, enough data set. Okay, so we have this data when economy was in recession, it was in normal, it was in a booming phase. So all such kind of situations we have considered in past, and we have collected the return of particular security from its past observation. And let we take such t number of observation, right? And we assume it has equal probability of 1 by capital T. Every moment or every observation has this probability. Then we replace this mean by the or you can say the expected return by the is estimated value. We can say it's a sample mean. We are taking the samples. We are collecting the samples, historical samples. OK, so we replace it by sample mean, and that is denoted by Ri bar for security I, and it is equal to very simple definition, average 1 by t sigma small t equal to 1 to capital T, because I have used small t because we are collecting the observation from different times. So let we say t equal to 1 to t. So there are capital T number of instances of time, and RIT are return generated by this security in past at time t. OK, so t is running from 1 to up to capital T. There are discrete instances of time. OK, so this is the mean, or you can say the estimated value of the expected return. I hope it is clear. Similarly, we have the estimate of the variance, right? Or we can call it a sample variance. For security I, it is a sigma I cap square. So it is denoted by the symbol sigma I cap square. So I just write in notepad later on. And it is not 1 by t, but 1 by t minus 1. Sigma is running from t equal to 1 to capital T. Then it is deviation from its mean value. So RIT minus RI bar whole square. So definition remains same. Only thing here, instead of 1 by t, it is 1 by t minus 1. This term is 1 by t minus 1 because this is unbiased estimator. If I write 1 by t, it becomes biased estimator. Now this unbiased and biased estimator you will study in the estimation theory in the probability and statistics. Right now we assume if we write 1 by t minus 1, it is unbiased estimator. If we write 1 by t, it becomes biased estimator. So in estimation theory, it is desired to have the unbiased estimator. So we write 1 by t minus 1. That's it. OK, so sigma I cap square equal to 1 by t minus 1, sigma t equal to 1 to capital T, RIT minus RI bar full square. Same way we define the correlation and covariance. So covariance between security I and J is sigma ij cap. It is estimated value of covariance. Again, it is 1 by capital T minus 1, sigma t equal to 1 to capital T. Why this variable is t? Because we are taking time in consideration, right? It is a time, past time, and such capital T number of past times are with us. So it is sigma t equal to 1 to capital T RIT minus RI bar into RJT minus RI bar, and estimated value of correlation coefficient rho ij cap equal to sigma ij cap divided by sigma I cap sigma j cap, and these all are unbiased estimators. We summarize this in Notepad, and portfolio analysis requires that the security analyst furnish the following estimate for every security to be considered. So if you are portfolio analyst, then you have to take the help of security analyst, and security analyst will furnish All this estimate means expected return E of Ri. So task of security analyst is to calculate this E of Ri from past data. Variance of return sigma I is sigma I square, and covariance between all securities sigma ij. So if there are n number of security, all the covariances to be supplied, all the variance to be supplied, all the expected returns to be supplied. Later on we formulate it in a one good equation, right? So that we see in a just next slide. But before I move to next slide, which is the related to now portfolio weights, expected return and risk. So now from simple security, we move to the portfolio where we have n number of securities. Before that, let me summarize this and why we are learning this, because we are modeling all this risk associated with the security, then the portfolio risk and all other things, because this is very important term. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. This is a very important term. So if you are in this field, always remember this term. The risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. If you know what you are doing, then there is a mental peace, even though there is a risk associated, but you know what is the percentage risk, right? And then portfolio needs diversification. It is a very common or very, you can say, popular statement from the Warren Buffett. I hope you know Warren Buffett at least, right? That I expect from you. Do not put all eggs in one basket. What it means? Intentionally, I have not taken these two sentences initially. I am taking right now. I hope this two sentences now have its meaning. These sentences are stated some years back. Then these theories get evolved. Anybody tell me what these two sentences meaning? The first one is obvious. We are doing the mathematical modeling because we want to know what is the risk associated with the risky security, and we must know what we are doing. What's this meaning of second statement? Anybody?
Diversification of portfolio.
Right. If you create a portfolio, then diversification is extremely necessary, right? And if you have a chance to become portfolio analyst, you must give a proper, you can say, a judgment whether your portfolio contains enough diversification or not, right? So that's why we are doing this analysis. Anyway, let me now summarize what we have learned. So let I go again to my Word document. So what we have learned, the estimated this span is running for some time and then create problem. Estimated return, risk, and covariance from historical data. And we have defined the sample mean, which is estimation of return, right? Which is estimated return by taking capital T number of observation from past. So that is very obvious. And this RIT is available because you can easily find these terms from historical data. So return of security I at time T, that we can calculate. Then we have defined the sample variance, that is estimated risk, and that is written as a sigma I cap square, remember, and it is not 1 by T but 1 by capital T minus 1, that is sigma T running from 1 to capital T. It is RIT minus E of RIT, sorry, not E, here it is RI bar, because we are in a sample mean and variance. So let I erase this. These equations are very common, so after some time you get easily remembered. So it is sigma RIT minus RI bar whole square. Okay, then sample covariance which is written as sigma ij cap. That is again 1 by capital T minus 1. T is running from 1 to capital T. What it is? RIT minus RI bar multiplied by RJ T minus RJ bar, because it is related to two securities. Okay, and that is estimated covariance. And these all are estimated from past data. And rho ij is equal to sigma ij divided by sigma I, all estimated values, sigma I, sigma j. So this is our conclusion, right? And we need to know all these values. Now we go to the portfolio. Okay, now we go to the portfolio. So in portfolio we have multiple assets, right? So let we have the n assets in my portfolio. So all assets have now different weights. So all assets may not be in the same proportion. So they are in a different proportion, right? So if they are in a different proportion, the return by portfolio depends on the securities in the portfolio and its weight. So the return given by the portfolio we denote by RP, we denote by RP. It depends on RI, means for return of all security, as well as the weight WI of every security I, where we have I equal to 1 to n now, n number of securities. Now see, there are so many indices will be there. The time indices, now the security indices, so don't confuse with these terms. Okay. And the weights are indicated by fraction value. It is indicated by fraction value, and it is such that sigma I equal to 1 to n, wi equal to 1. And mostly these weights are positive number and they are in fraction if short selling are not allowed. If short selling is allowed, this wi can be negative. So we right now exclude the case of short selling. It will be very difficult to model if we include this short selling right now. Later on, we can extend it to short selling. So we assume all this wi are between 0 and 1. Okay, and they are positive fraction value. And sigma of wi for I running 1 to n, n is number of security, it is always equal to 1. And if I denote now RP is the return from portfolio which has n securities, and each security I generates return RI, then what I can write now, the expected return from portfolio P. So the return from security is not important. The return from portfolio is important now. Each security may not deliver same return, or each security may not generate higher return, but what is the average return of portfolio, that is important, and that is the expected return from portfolio, E of RP. And now what is RP? Let I use my notepad again. So let I go to notepad. So what we are looking at, the expected return from portfolio now, the expected return from portfolio P, and P consists of n securities. Okay, so that is written as ERP, and it is E of what? RP. Now return from this portfolio depends on return of individual security I and its proportional weight. So WI. So it is sigma WI RI, where I is running from 1 to capital N. N is the number of security. So say this is the return from portfolio. And as I mentioned, this expectation is a linear operator. This expectation is a linear operator. So I can move this expectation inside the summation. So now I use the linearity property. So here I can move this expectation inside the summation. How? I can write it like this. It's equal to sigma I equal to 1 to n expected value of Wi into Ri, but Wi is constant. It not depends on any other thing. That's proposition I have fixed. So Wi is not a random term. It's a deterministic term. I can take it outside. See, expectation is a linear operator. So it follows, first of all, additivity. You can see here first expectation and then summation. So what linearity says, if you perform first summation and then expectation, it's okay. Here first multiplication with constant, multiplication with constant and then expectation. Now here first multiplication with constant is taken outside and then the expectation is done. So you can take this Wi as a scalar quantity as an outside the expectation operator. So this is the, you can say, scaling property, and this is the additivity property. So here the linearity is there. So linearity principle is preserved like we have seen the linear system. So this expectation operator is a linear operator. So this way we can find the portfolio return or portfolio expected value of return if I know the return of every security E of Ri, and we know how to find the E of Ri. Either you estimate or you find from that probability of the state of economy, right? So you have two ways. So this way we have the portfolio return. Similarly, we have portfolio risk. So now let I take again pen. So portfolio risk. Can anybody tell me how I can define portfolio risk? How can I model the portfolio risk? It is sigma p square. And what it should be? Expected value of, now you can give me the equation. This is very important if you just correlate this with the previous. What this will be? Portfolio risk sigma p square will be E of, it is variance of what? Portfolio return. So E of RP minus its expected value, E of RP whole square, right? So this is my portfolio risk. So remember this portfolio return, portfolio risk. Let I take now for a simple case a two asset portfolio, means I have only two assets with weight W1, W2 such that W1 plus W2 are equal to 1. And then I will try to find the risk and return, and then I will generalize with the, then move to the 3 asset and then with the n asset. So let today we take only the 2 asset case. So I take now 2 asset portfolio. But in between, if you have any question, you just ask me. I take a pause of half minute because these are very important concept in modeling. Okay, so let we take a 2 asset portfolio which has weights. So let I denote it in vector, W vector. So I denote it W bar. So here it is a vector. Let I say a vector. Remember, vector can be either column vector or row vector. Usually we use the column vector, but we write it in a row form. So there are two weights, a W1 comma W2, and I write a transpose sign T. This T is sign for transpose. Remember, this T is a sign for transpose. So actually it is denoted as the actually it is a column vector W1, W2. So let I say this is a weight vector W bar. So this is the weight vector. And we also know that the sigma of Wi with I running 1 to n is always 1. The weight summation is always 1. So that we should remember. OK, so here W1 plus W2 is 1. So that we should remember. This is very simple case. So that we should remember here. OK, now I take my definition of expected return, and expected return from this portfolio. Now it's very easy to write. It is W1 ER1 plus W2 ER2, right? Then risk associated with the portfolio. What is risk associated with the portfolio? Sigma P square Anybody now tell me how to write this? Anybody can tell me how to write this now? It is this definition. RP minus ERP whole square. So what I should replace? By RP and ERP, both I should replace. So what is RP? What should be write for RP? Very simple. It is written on portfolio that depends on the weight and the return. So it is a weighted average. It is a weighted average. So all these terms are very important. So W1 R1 plus W2 R2 minus W1 E of R1 minus W2 E of R2. And now I will play with the characteristics of this expectation operator. And remember, I use the linearity and other properties of this expectation operator. And linearity we all know how to utilize. So let I write this in a slightly different way. So I take W1 common and I write these two terms together. W1 minus ER1 takes slightly longer time, but we should do with the notepad only. W2 into R2 minus ER2 and that whole square, right? So now I open the square term. So it is expected value W1 square R1 minus ER1 whole square plus W2 square R2 minus expected value of R2 whole square plus twice W1 W2 into R1 minus ER1 into R2 minus ER2, right? And bracket over. Now the expectation is linear operator. So there are three terms related by plus sign. So I can take them separately. So that is the expectation property. So expectation of W1 square into R1 minus ER1 square. Just bear with this notepad. Plus expectation of W2 square R2 minus ER2 whole square and expectation over here, then plus expectation of twice W1 W2 into expectation of into R1 minus ER1 and R2 minus ER2. So let I write it here. So I have here R1 minus ER1 and R2 minus ER2. Let me complete this today. Now we see again the linearity property of the expectation operator. So W1 square is a weight of the portfolio which is constant, which I can take outside because W1 constant, W1 square is also constant. So it is expectation of R1 minus ER1 right? And that is whole square plus similarly here W2 square I can take common and expectation of R2 minus ER2 we have, and that is getting squared. Similarly, twice W1 W2 is the common constant term in the third of this summation. So it is expected value of R1 minus ER1 into R2 minus ER2. Okay. Now if you look at these terms, what is expectation of R1 minus ER1 whole square? It is nothing but sigma 1 square. What is expectation of R2 minus ER2 whole square? It is sigma 2 square. It is variance or risk associated with the second security. Then twice W1 W2. What is this expectation of R1 minus ER1 into R2 minus ER2? It is covariance of security 1 with security 2. So it is sigma 1 2. So see, the portfolio risk sigma P square is equal to W1 square plus sigma 1 square plus W2 square plus sigma 2 square plus twice W1 W2 sigma 1 2. So it is not only related to the variance of the securities only, but it is related to covariance between the two securities. So that's the trick, right? If there are only two securities in portfolios, it is not related to risk of the individual security, but also related to the relation between the risk of the two securities, right? So it is related to this sigma 1 2 also. Now this equation we can better arrange in a matrix form. So next time we see how to write this equation in a matrix form, and from two security portfolio we interpolate the same, or rather extrapolate the same to the n security portfolio, right? And then we see a very important thing which is called a covariance matrix, right? And its properties. So I hope you got all these things. Any doubts so far? You can tell me. Meanwhile, I stop sharing and stop recording because time is getting over.